Good day everyone, my name is Joshua Agam and today I will be conducting my teaching demonstration. Allow me to start. Please stand for the opening prayer. Mr. Antina, please lead the prayer. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, Amen. Good morning class! Again, good morning class! How are you this morning? Good. Before you take your seats, I want you to pick up some sunglasses under your chairs and arrange your chairs properly. Thank you. Now you may now take your seats. Is there absent class? Oh, no absent. Perfect attendance. Very good. Before we move on to our new lesson this morning, let's first have an agreement. Is that fine with you all? Alright. I want you to keep all the things that are not needed in our discussion. You have to sit properly and do not talk with your seatmates. Class, if someone here in front is talking, what would you do? Correct. You have to listen attentively. How about if you want to answer to my question? Yes, you have to raise your hand silently. Do we have an agreement now? Alright. Before we move on to our new lesson or a new topic this morning, let's first have a recap or a review about our previous topic. Last meeting, we talked about, yes, Mr. Antina, we talked about photosynthesis. So what is photosynthesis? Yes, sumalpo. Alright, photosynthesis is the process of food making for plants. So, do you have any questions, clarifications regarding our previous topic? If not, let's move on to a new topic. So class, but before that, let's first have a game. Do you know, or are you familiar with a trivia game called 4 Pics, 1 Word? Alright, so I have here 4 pictures, and all you need to do is to guess what is the word behind these 4 pictures. Alright, what is the picture all about? Yes, Miss Emphasis. The picture is all about the... Alright, that's that. Our topic this morning is all about being the cell theory. So, but before we move on or to further discuss our topic, let's first discuss our objective for this lesson. Okay, class, I want you to read the objectives of our lesson. Okay, thank you. So, at the end of this discussion, I will be expecting that each of you will define what is a cell. And also, you also have to identify the different components of the cell theory. And last, you have to explain the states of the cell theory. Class, this objective is a guide for us along with our discussion. Alright, is that clear? Okay. But before we formally discuss what is cell theory, I want you to analyze these 3 statements. I want you to analyze first statement. Cells are considered the basic unit of life. Cells are the basic building blocks of all living things. Cells are the smallest structural and functional unit of an organism. So based on that statement, what would come up into your mind? What is in your mind when you hear that 3 statements? Yes, Miss Pasco. Alright. The statement talks about the cell theory. So what is a cell theory? So, cell theory is one of the basic principles of biology, or meaning that the cell theory is the basic principles of life. Right? So, here we have 3 statements about the cell theory. We have cells are considered the basic unit of life. Why is it that the cells are the basic unit of life? Because cells come in a discrete and easily recognizable packages, meaning to say that the structures of a cell can be recognized directly. When you use a microscope, we can clearly identify that certain structure because the cell is a discrete and it is easily recognizable packages. So the second statement is cells are the basic building blocks of all living things. Meaning to say that all living things in the world is composed of cells because they provide structure for the body, take in nutrients into energy, and carry out specialized functions. Meaning to say that each cell on each living organism has a corresponding function because it provides structure to our body, at the same time take in nutrients into energy, be able for us to function and to work, and also carry out specialized functions into the entire systems of our organs. Okay, so the third statement, please read Mr. Sumalong. Okay, thank you. You may now take your seat. So the third statement talks about that cells are smallest structural and functional unit of an organism. Meaning to say that cells are microscopic and consisting of cytoplasm and a nucleus enclosed in a membrane. Microscopic organisms typically consist of a single cell, which is either eukaryotic or prokaryotic cells. So meaning they are very tiny and smallest structural and they function into the entire unit of an organism. So, do you understand now what is a cell theory? Alright, so who among you here knows the different proponents of the cell theory? Anyone in the class? Alright, class. These are the proponents of the cell theory. We have Theodor Schwann, Matthias Jacob Schleiden, and Rudolf Ludwig Karl Virchow. These are the three persons, or should I say, the three proponents of the cell theory. So first, let's discuss who is Theodor Schwann. Yes, Domingo, please read the background of Theodor Schwann. Okay, thank you. Now you now take your seat. So Theodor Schwann is a German biologist and is considered the founder of the cell theory. Meaning to say that Theodor Schwann is the founder of the cell theory. He discovered trypsin, the first digestive enzyme prepared from animal tissue, and experimented to disprove spontaneous generation. So, meaning, he discovered trypsin and also experimented to disprove the spontaneous generation. So, what is spontaneous generation? Why is it that Theodor Schwann studied to disprove that certain, or he conduct an experiment, be able for him to disprove the spontaneous generation? What is spontaneous generation? Spontaneous generation class believes that it is a theory that all living matter comes from non-living organism. Meaning to say that all living organism, gikan daw mo siya sa mga non-living organisms. Do you believe in that? Okay, no. So that is why in 1839, Schwann concluded that all tissues are made up of cells. That is why he disproved the spontaneous generation. It's because of his experiment that all tissues are composed or are made up of cells. So that is why every organism in the world do not come from non-living organisms, because we develop or we are made of tissues out of the pre-existing cells. We are made of pre-existing cells. That is why we have life. That is why he disproved that theory. So now let's move on to Matthias Jacob Schleiden. So Matthias Jacob Schleiden, please read, class. Okay, thank you for reading. So, Matthias Jacob Schleiden is a German botanist and is considered the co-founder of the cell theory. Meaning, if Theodor Schwann is the founder of the cell theory, Matthias Jacob Schleiden is the co-founder of the cell theory. He preferred to study plant structure under the microscope and wrote contribution to our knowledge of phytogenesis, in which he stated that all plants are composed of cells. So, sir, what is phytogenesis? Phytogenesis is the origin and development of plants. That is the expertise of Matthias Jacob Schleiden because he preferred to study plant structure. So that is why, during his study, he declared that the cell is the basic building blocks of all matter. Meaning, say, all matter do have cell because that is the building blocks of all matter. So that is why, because of his preferred to study plant structure, because of his studies, he now declared that the cell is the basic building blocks of all matter. So that is why we exist, we have life, because cell is the basic unit of life, as we all know. So all matter do consist of cells, in order for us to stay alive. And next proponent we have Rudolf Ludwig Karl Virchow. Okay, Angelina, Mr. Angelina, please read. Okay, thank you. Now you now take your seat. Okay, Rudolf Ludwig Karl Virchow is the third proponent of the cell theory. He is a German physician, anthropologist, and a biologist. He is known as the father of modern pathology. So one of the first to accept the work of Robert Remarque, who showed the origin of cell, was the division of the pre-existing cells. Meaning to say, if Theodor Schwann is considered as the founder of the cell theory, and Matthias Jacob Schleiden is the co-founder of the cell theory, Rudolf Ludwig Karl Virchow is also known as the father of the modern pathology, which studies the bacteria and every living organisms. So, do you understand who are the proponents of the cell theory? We have Theodor Schwann, Matthias Jacob Schleiden, and Ludwig Karl Virchow. So, since we already know the cell theory, the proponents of the cell theory, who can now identify the different states of cell theory? Anyone in the class who can identify the states of cell theory? Okay, class. These are the states of the cell theory. You have to remember, class, that before, the states of cell theory do only consist of 3 states. And now, in the modern era, we have 6 states of theory. It was expanded. Okay, class. Now, let's first discuss the states of cell theory before. It consists of 3 statements. First, the cell is fundamental unit of structure and function in living things. Second, all organisms are made up of 1 or more cells. And third, cells arise from other cells through cellular division. As you can see, or as you can analyze that, the before or the old state of cell theory, it was reflected based on the experiment and studies of the proponents of the cell theory. It was reflected basically on their studies. So now, let's move on to the modern or the expanded version of the cell theory. And it consists of 6 statements. So as you can see, that the before or the old states of cell theory, it was added only 3 statements. That is why it makes 6 statements. So first, the cell theory is the fundamental unit of structure and function in living things. Second, all organisms are made up of 1 or more cells. And third, cells arise from other cells through cellular division. As you can see that these 3 here on the expanded version of the cell theory, it was copied from the old states of the cell theory, and it has added the fourth, fifth, and sixth states. That is why it's composed of six. So the fourth state talks about cells carry genetic material passed to daughter cells during cellular division, and fifth, all cells are essentially the same in chemical composition, and sixth, energy flow, metabolism, and biochemistry occurs within cells. So, any clarification about the topic? So I have a question. Why is it that necessary that we need to study the cell, the proponents, and as well as the states of cell theory? Yes, Miss Pasco. Right. We need to study because human beings or every living organism on earth is composed of different cells, in which each cell has different functions within our body. So that's why we need to appreciate that cells are considered the basic unit of life that we exist, and each of us is composed of different cells. So why is it that necessary that we need to study the proponents of the cell theory? Yes, Mr. Domingo. We need to study because we want to acknowledge their contribution, and because of them, we'll be able to expand our understanding of the cell theory, correct? And the states of cell theory are the guide of us for us to be able to appreciate the fundamental and the concept of the cell theory. Any question regarding the topic? So if none, let's move on to our activity. Are you excited, class, for our activity? Okay, our activity this morning is this one. Okay, class, I want you to read the direction of the activity. Thank you. All you need to do is to construct a paragraph containing the importance of studying the cell theory, proponent, and states of cell theory, and also you have to present your output in your own creative way. So, I want you to divide the class into 5 groups. First group, you have to stay on this area. The second group, stay on that area. Third group, stay on that part. And fourth group, stay on that part. And fifth group, stay on that area. Okay, is the instruction clear, class? Okay, you will be given 10 minutes to prepare your output, and class, please be mindful on the following criteria, so that you will be able, or you will be aware on how to judge or to grade your output. So, creativity 30%, mastery 50%, and the overall performance 20%. Okay, you may now go to your respective group. Are you done, class? Okay, I know that you are very excited to present your output. Okay. Group 1, excellent performance. Group 2, a marvelous performance. Group 3, very good performance. Group 4, very fantastic. Group 5, very good. Class, give yourself a round of applause for a job well done. You presented your output in your own creative way. Some group presented their outputs through dancing, and some do present their output through singing, and also other group presented their output through acting or a drama. Very good, class. A marvelous performance. Any clarifications regarding the topic? So what is a cell, class? Again, cells are considered the basic unit of life. Second, cells are the basic building blocks of all living things. And third, cells are the smallest structural and functional unit of an organism. How about the proponents? Who are the proponents of the cell theory? Enumerate. Yes, Mr. Antikina. Okay, these are Theodor Schwann, Matthias Jacob Schleiden, and Rudolf Ludwig Karl Virchow. How about the states of the cell theory? Because these are the fundamental concepts of the cell. Okay, these are, remember class, that the old method or the before state of cell theory consists of 3 statements and the expanded version consists of 6 statements. Any questions, clarifications regarding the topic? If none, let's move on to our quiz. Okay, class, get 1/2 sheet of paper and answer the question directly. Okay, are you done, class? Okay, you have to pass your papers by column. Okay, thank you. Okay, for your assignment, class, I want you to get your assignment notebook and write it down. So, the assignment is you have to write a timeline about the cell theory. Is the instruction clear, class? Alright. Any clarifications, questions regarding our lesson today? If none, let's call it a day. Goodbye,